Hi Stampers, happy Friday. I'm happy to be here again for another Facebook Live. We're just gonna give it a minute or two so that we can get some people on here, and I will set up my computer so that I can see your comments. Okay, and I'm really hoping that we don't have all the technical glitches that we had last week. That was terrible last week, but I think I know what I did wrong. So let's hope that I don't do that again this week. Okay, remember to say hi when you pop in so I know who's here. Okay, let's move this out of the way. So you can see that I'm in a different spot again today. You can see this is where I normally craft. So that's my crafting section. I've got a whole row of cupboard or countertop all the way across here. So this is where I craft, and then there's another sitting area where I have my computer and do my computer work. So I'm just kind of experimenting with different areas in my craft room to see where the lighting is best and where I prefer to do my Facebook Live. So I'm kind of playing around. I didn't really like being in the other room because if I forgot something, then I had to run back here and get it. Whereas here, everything is at my fingertips. So it's quite easy. Good morning, ladies. Good morning, Mary Liz and Karen. Happy to have you here. Okay, so I'm gonna do a quick introduction and then we will get started. My name is Sherry Roth. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Sherwood Park, Alberta, Canada. And every Friday at 11 a.m. I do a Facebook Live video, and we do something different every week. So this week we are creating a pocket envelope using the envelope punch board. So I'm excited to share that with you. Each week you have the opportunity to win what I create by commenting on the Facebook Live, or I upload it to YouTube as well, or the replay. So any platform, it just depends on where you're seeing this. You can comment from the day it goes live up until the following Thursday. And then I put everybody's name in and draw for a winner. If you share the video, whether it's on YouTube or on Facebook, you get 5 entries. So I've got everybody's name who commented and shared on last week's terrible video with all the technical glitches. So I appreciate that you actually watched through because it was horrible. But last week we created this spinner card. And is he gonna spin for us? Come on. You know, I tested this early. There we go. Okay, you just have to get it at the right angle. So I'm gonna draw for the winner of this card. So I've got everybody's name in who commented or shared the video. Hey Barb. And Beth M is the winner. So I know that she actually shared the post last week and commented a couple times. So she's a faithful sharer as well. So I'm gonna set this aside. Another good thing about being here is I'm on my rolly chair. So it's quite nice, I can easily move. Okay, let's get that out of the way. Okay, so I'm gonna turn the camera around and let's hope, fingers crossed, that we don't have any technical problems. I'm checking my cheat sheet to make sure that I do this right. Okay. Okay, so now I'm upside down, but I'm gonna flip my camera. And turn on my light here. And I just have to wait for my screen to catch up so that I can see what you guys are seeing. And I seem to have frozen. Can you guys just comment and just see if you've got a good, I should maybe use my phone to check this. Oh, it looks okay. Let's move it up a little bit like this. Okay. I just want to make sure that you guys can see the whole table. I don't want to cut off the bottom of the project like I did last time. Okay, So I think that should be good. Oh, let's move this up just a bit so you can see my web address. Okay, so we are going to create one of these cards. These are pocket, I'm calling them pocket envelope or envelope pocket cards because we're creating an envelope, but then we're cutting off a flap and then there's a little insert. So I left this quite generic so that you have lots of room to add a message, but on the back, I converted it to a gift card holder. So isn't that cute? This is gonna be great for the holidays. And they are really simple to make. They're a little bit smaller than a traditional size card, so this would be great to give as is. You wouldn't necessarily need to put it in an envelope. However, it does fit in one of our standard size envelopes as well. Okay, so this is the vertical version, and then I did a horizontal version as well. So this one, I used the same DSP, which I'll talk about in a minute. And it just pulls out, and I thought this one would be really cute with a photo added onto it. Good morning, Kim. Good morning, Barb. And then you can write your message on the back. Okay. So this one's a little bit different. I used pretty much the same stamps. I just didn't use the circular part here. And this one I embossed and added a few more gold features on this one. Okay, so let's talk about what I used here. Now I used product from the upcoming holiday catalog. So both the DSP and the stamp set and punch that I'm using today are all from the holiday catalog, which starts September 5th. If you are in Canada and you don't currently have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and would like a copy of this, just send me a message and I'm happy to pop one in the mail for you. Okay, and remember this starts September 5th. I know everybody's itching to order from it, and I know tomorrow is September 1st, but you have to wait until next Wednesday. So the DSP that we're using is the All Is Bright DSP. So you can see there's some of those realistic images. So there's this one, there is these little ornaments, and then this one here is another realistic one, and even the little light bulbs. So it's a combination of realistic images and then some patterns. Okay, so this is the one that I used for this one here, and then I used this ornament one, so that's the inside of this guy, and then this is the outside. So it's got these really pretty poinsettias printed on it. And then today we're going to use this pattern. So we're going to use the stockings, and then it's got some green stars on the back. All right. And then, where's my stamp set? The bundle that we're using is the Making Christmas Bright bundle. So it comes with, let's put it this way. It comes with a stamp set and then a coordinating punch. When I first saw this punch, it reminded me of a footprint. I don't know how well you guys can see that, but to me that looked like a footprint, like a men's shoe in the sand. But it's actually meant to be an ornament. Okay, so that's what we're using. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. First, what we need is a piece of DSP cut 7 1/4 by 7 1/4. Okay, and then we're going to pull in our punch board, and we are doing a 3.5 by 5 inch card. Okay, so we're creating a pocket for that size card. So it tells you that our paper size needs to be 7 1/4 by 7 1/4, and our score line is 3 1/8 of an inch. So we are going to, the first thing that you want to do is you want to decide what pattern you want out. And I think I want this pattern out. So I'm going to score on this side. So 3 1/8 is where I'm going to line it up. So 3 and then 1/8. I love that they have the measurements printed for each one. Normally you'd see 3 and then maybe the 1/2 inch and then 4, but they've got the measurements every 1/8 of an inch. So there's no guesswork. So you could recreate this in any size just by following this grid. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to score and punch, and then I'm going to rotate, and I don't look at the ruler again. just for that first score line. That's the trick to using this envelope punch board. And now this score line that I've got here, I'm going to line up with this little notched bit. So I'm gonna put this in here and then repeat it. So score and punch, rotate it around again. And I'm gonna do this on all 4 sides. And it doesn't matter whether you punch or you score first, you just have to remember to do both on each of the 4 sides. Okay, and then I'll tuck that away and move that guy out of the way. Okay, so now we've got our envelope. I'm gonna take my bone folder and score, or not score, and just kind of fold. And I'm not pushing too hard. When you score DSP, you want to be careful not to push too hard when you're scoring it, but also when you're folding it as well, because that can sometimes cause it to crack, and we don't want it to crack. Okay, so now what I need to do is I need to decide if I want it to be a vertical pocket or if I want it to be a horizontal pocket. And you know what, I'm gonna do vertical because I want to show you how I did the gift card holder. So then, oops. So then I'm going to take my paper cutter and I want it to go this way. Okay, so it will actually fold in like this. So I'm just gonna cut this flap off. So I'm just gonna line it up in my paper cutter and just trim that off. And then I'll save that for something else. Okay. All right. And you know what? You can, at this point, you can adhere these. So you can put adhesive down here and stick those down, or down here and here and stick those down. But I didn't even bother on here. So you can see my belly bands will slide right off and it'll open up. So I didn't use any adhesive, but you can if you want. On the other one, on the horizontal one, just slide that back on. On the horizontal one, I did apply a little bit of adhesive. I didn't adhere the envelope, but I did apply adhesive to the bottom of this just to, I didn't want this to slide. I didn't like this top bit, that pointed bit showing, and I probably could have just cut it straight across. But instead, just to cover it up, I just added a little bit of adhesive behind there. Okay, so for those of you who are just joining, we are creating a cute little envelope pocket card that we're turning into a gift card holder. Okay, all right, so we've created our envelope, which is our base, and now we are going to create our belly band and our insert. So let me grab all my pieces that I need here. Okay, so let's create the belly band first. So what I like to do, hey Christina, do you have your craft room all set up now? Christina just moved to BC. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to use my bone folder and just create some little score lines so that it'll make it easier for this to fold in. And if you want your belly band to slide on and off, then you want to make sure it's not too tight. You want to make it a little bit looser so that it'll slide nicely. All right, so now I'm going to take a little bit of fast fuse and just put it down here. Line up my edges. Okay, so there's my belly band. And now I'm gonna do the same thing with this, except actually what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start here and adhere it like this. Almost set up. Oh, Manitoba, sorry, I thought you were in BC. Christina is the king of crafters. She does all types of crafts. Makes amazing things. Okay, so now I've got this strip here measures 1.5 by 8.5, and then my DSP measures 1.25. I kept it 12 inches, and you'll see why in a minute. Let's just fold this over. Okay, just gonna keep going here. like that. And then I will trim. I'm not too worried about this being super straight or anything because it's going to be covered with my focal point anyways. So now I'm just gonna add a little bit of adhesive on these ends and then fold it back around. Okay. All right. So now we've got our belly band done and we're gonna save this piece. Okay. So let's create our insert. Now I have got this red piece measures 3.5 by 5 inches. And then my white layer measures 3 3/8 by 4 7/8. So it just has a little bit of a red border. So it's got about a 1/16 of an inch. And then I've got a scrap of, this is a new ribbon that is in the holiday catalog. It's part of this collection. It's, oh, the name escapes me. Real red satin something or other, but I'm not sure how well you can see it, but it's like almost like a grosgrain kind of look on one side and then a satin finish on the other. It's kind of neat. I don't think we've ever had a ribbon like this before. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of adhesive here, and you could also staple this on. What I wanted to do, the purpose of this is so that people realize that it's meant to be pulled out, so that the insert is meant to come out. Okay, so now I'm adding adhesive to the white layer and I'm going to put that right on top. Just like that. And I think I stamped. Yes, I did. Okay. When we pull out the stamps, we'll do that. Okay, and then on the back, so we're going to decorate this in a minute, but on the back, that's where I used this piece. So it fits perfectly. You just need to trim off a little bit of excess, but it works perfect for a pocket. Okay, so I'm going to use a little bit of Tombow because I just want a narrow bit of adhesive along the two sides and the bottom. This is coming out a little bit too fast. Okay. Hopefully that's not too much. It's not going to make a mess. So then I will stick this on here, like so, and that's going to be my pocket. Okay, so I'm just going to give that a minute to set before I trim that off. And now I've got a couple pieces of scrap white cardstock. I'm going to pull in my Stampin' Pierce mat, and the reason why I'm using my Stampin' Pierce mat is because these are photopolymer stamps. And I find I get a better impression if I have a foam piece underneath. Okay, so I'm going to stamp the little circle wreath type image. I'm going to stamp that with Memento Black. Memento is my preferred ink for photopolymer stamps because it comes off nicely. Except when I'm watercoloring. I wouldn't use Memento ink if I was watercoloring. Okay, so we've got that. And then, actually, while I've got my black ink out, I'm going to stamp a couple of these little ornament pieces. So we'll do one there and one there, because I need a couple of those little ornaments. Okay. So for this one, I'm going to take my 2 1/4 inch circle punch and punch this out. Actually, you know what? Before we do that, let's finish our stamping. I always find it easier to stamp on a larger piece. So we are going to take the greeting that says, "May your Christmas be," and we're going to stamp that in real red. And I believe in this paper pack, if I remember correctly, both Real Red and Cherry Cobbler coordinate with this paper pack. So I'll ink that up, and I'm going to stamp that. I apologize if my head's in the way. I just want to make sure I'm stamping it high enough up so that I have room for my other word. Okay. And then we're going to take Call Me Clover, and stamp the word bright. And hopefully it fits right in here. Yep, perfect. Okay, now we're gonna take our 2 1/4 inch circle punch and punch this out. And let's move this out of the way. Okay, and then I'm gonna take the coordinating punch for this set. So this is, I actually don't know what it's called. I'm gonna call it the light bulb punch. And I'm gonna slide this in here and punch out that little light bulb base. And do the same here. So I've got those 2 ready to go. Okay. Now this is going to get layered onto some pieces that I've pre-cut already. Now I use the layering circles framelets, and what I like to do is when I get a layering set, I will usually number them. So I start with the smallest and I number them by size. So 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then 4 and go all the way up. And that way when I do a class or do a video like this, it's easy to let you guys know which size I do. So I do that for the plain circles, and then I also did that for the scallop circles. So I used, for this black one, I used the number 6 in the solid circle and the number 6 in the scallop circle for the gold foil. Okay, so that's an easy way for me to reference and for you guys to know what size I used. I'm sure it's easy enough for you guys to figure out as well. So I'm going to add adhesive and just layer these pieces up. So white circle goes onto the black, and then the black onto the gold. And this might be easier to see, not on this full mat. Not really, because it blends in with the table. We'll make do. Okay. And then this piece is going to go onto here like this. So I'm going to add a little bit of adhesive, actually quite a bit of adhesive. And I'm using Fast Fuse just because I stocked up when I found out it was going to be retired. It is my adhesive of preference. But you can use snail, you can use tear and tape, you can use Tombow even, either one, any of them. So there we go, our belly band is done. But now we want to decorate it with a couple of light bulbs. So let's see here. We want another piece of scrap white, and we want a light bulb. Now I've chosen, there's several different light bulbs to choose from in here. So there's one with a star, that's the one I'm using. There's one that says merry and bright, and then there's a solid one. So this is the one that I've chosen to use today. And I'm going to stamp it in, I did red. Actually, I think I should do it in red, because with the green on the outside, that would be a lot of green. But I think we'll do green on the inside. Okay, so I'm gonna ink it up. The other thing that I like to do is I like to check and see how my punch punches, okay? So when I slide it in, my ornament is going that way. So when I stamp it, I will make sure that my ornament is going that way as well. I think my red ink needs to be refilled. Okay, so I'll stamp that there, and then I'm gonna clean it, and then I'm gonna do a couple in the green. And let's see, where's my scrub? Can you tell that this is well used? Look how dirty it is. I really need to clean it. Okay, so I'll clean that, and then I'll do 2 more in the Call Me Clover. All right. Now I guess I didn't stamp enough bases, but that's okay. We'll deal with that later. Okay, so now I'll just slide this in, and I will punch these out. So I've got got my one red one. And my two green ones. Okay. So now I am going to use a mini glue dot. And I love how it gives you a little bit of an edge there so that you can easily adhere these. So I'm going to stick this on. And then just pop it on the bottom like that. So does anybody have any fun plans for the weekend? I am taking my son out to Sylvan Lake. He's going to spend a couple days with a friend they're throwing a surprise 16th birthday party for his friend. Let's trim this while I think of it. So I'm driving him out there and a bunch of his friends out there tonight. Apart from that, pretty laid back weekend. Not really a whole lot planned. All the back to school shopping is all done, thank goodness. Okay, so I'm gonna add a little bit of adhesive here. Both kids are actually quite looking forward to going back to school. Ethan, not so much for the schoolwork, more for the social part. But Jordan is really looking forward to going back to school. She loves school. Okay, so now I'm gonna use some of these twinkle adhesive back sequins. Now these sequins, they come, you get 4 sheets. Mary Liz, you're going to dinner tomorrow with Andrew? Ooh, where are you going? So these come in 4 sheets, and what I didn't realize until I was creating this card is I thought they were 2 sheets of the same, so 2 silver sheets and then 2 iridescent ones, but they're 2 different sizes. So you actually get 4 different sheets of stars. So there's a bigger one in both colors and then a smaller one in both colors. So we are going to use the bigger one in the silver. Oh, Jubilate. Oh, is that Star Wars? Is it the Star Wars one that you're going to at Jubilations? I went to Jubilations with some friends a couple weeks ago. We did the rock and roll one. It was quite good. That was my first time there. It was fun. Okay, so there we go. So we've got our little accent on there, and then we are going to add one on here. So I'm going to add this like this, and this time I'm going to use a smaller star in here. You'll have to let me know how that is. My family would probably love that Star Wars one. Okay. So then we've got a little star there. And then you can, on this one, what I did was, just because the pocket is a little bit narrower, I added one that I popped up with dimensionals, just to kind of hold the card in there so it wouldn't fall out. So you can do that as well. But I think for this one, we are just gonna leave it just as is. And there we go. So it slid right in there nicely. And then if you wanted to create the horizontal version, then the only thing that is different, you still start with the same size, everything is the same. The only thing that is different is instead of cutting off this narrower flap, this flap, you're gonna cut off one of the longer flaps. So that's the only difference. Your size for your insert is still the same. Your belly band is obviously a little bit longer. And this one I made a little bit narrower. I think I did 1 inch and then 7/8 of an inch. And then I chose not to do the wreath around the edge or the circle around the edges. I just did the greeting, and I stamped it with Versamark with gold embossing powder. All right. So thank you all for joining me. I hope you guys have a fabulous weekend. Oh, thank you, Jamie. Remember that if you comment on this post, you'll get entered to win this project, or yeah, this project that I made today. I'll pop that in the mail for you, and we'll draw next week actually next week, you know what? I'm not gonna be live. It will be a pre-recorded video. I do have something fun to share with you, and it is using the envelope punch board again, but it'll be pre-recorded. So it will be in 2 weeks when I draw for this week's winner. And then I've got a new host code for September. So this is the host code if you want to order from me. If your order is over $50, then I will be sending out a package of the chicken wire elements or embellishments from the holiday catalog to everybody who places an order over $50 with me. Okay, so thanks for watching and thanks for all the great comments. I hope you all have a fabulous weekend. Take care.